And welcome back here to Up North at 4. Nick is joining me from the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society. I'm super excited about this interview. I was looking at you at your group on Facebook, and it just instantly sparked my interest. So just to kind of get some background on the group itself, what is it that you guys do with the Paranormal Society?
Thanks for having me on here. I'm really excited to be here. The Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society was founded in 2008 by Kevin Malik, and he was a Rhinelander resident, and he headquartered the society out of his house in Rhinelander, and he sadly passed away in December 2019. So we've struggled to keep the group going without him and his leadership, but we're still here and we're still going, and we help people mostly. That's what we want to do. It's not really like what you see on TV shows, even though a lot of people think that's what it is. But we do help people that have issues in their homes, spirits or whatever paranormal activity that they have. We try to help them and guide them to references and just help them out with whatever their problem is.
I'm curious then, what does sort of your is investigations the right word? Can I just ask that? Is that like the correct term to use?
Yeah, I don't really know of a better term to use other than investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But we do private homes and we do businesses as well. Usually a business is a lot different than a private home, and private homes are private, of course. We don't share any information or stuff like that. But if we're doing a business and they allow us to, we'll share whatever we catch. We'll put it on the internet.
Okay. So what do these investigations then look like for you guys? What's sort of the process of getting ready, going throughout? I'm sure most of them take place at night, if that's fair to say. But
Yeah.
What does that kind of look like throughout the night then for you guys?
That will usually entail a couple members of NWPS coming to the location, getting more information from the people, getting their experiences and whatnot. And then also doing the actual investigation. We have lots of different techniques and things that we use, cameras, audio recorders. And honestly, it can be quite boring and long, tedious. But when you do have things happen and you go back and watch them on film, it's pretty unbelievable.
Is there anything that you've experienced in your time that, looking back kind of maybe stands above everything else as I really can't explain that, or that was truly something unbelievable for you?
My wife and I have had a few things happen. We have a YouTube channel that my wife and I document our paranormal experiences on. It's called the Breezer Files, kind of a play off of X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
And we were on a trip and we stayed at this bed and breakfast in Painesville, Ohio, called the Riders Inn. And that stands out as the most interesting experience I've ever had. We were staying there and we were the only people in the building. And the room we were in was supposedly haunted by the caretaker of the building,
Mm-hmm.
who the previous owner. And we went to bed that night and we felt something touch our feet in the middle of the night. And we thought it was really strange. But we had a camera going, recording. And when I got up and I checked the camera, and you could see the blankets on the top of the bed, like pull away a little bit. And then my wife and I both jump up and react. And then the thing is, there's a journal in our room from people that stay there that write their experiences in it. And one of the experiences that happens in that room is the spirit tucks you in at night. That's the first thing we ever really captured on video, was of movement or whatever.
Well, I've got plenty of questions, and I definitely want to get those. But we're going to take a quick break here on Up North at 4. Nick, don't go anywhere, all right? We got a lot more coming up. We'll be right back here on Up North at 4. And welcome on back here to Up North at 4. Nick from the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society is joining me now. And before we took our break, Nick, you were mentioning that you guys often use, it's called a spirit box. And you were saying it just cycles through a bunch of radio signals, radio stations, and the ghost or whoever can sort of pick out words, phrases, whatever it is, and communicate. That's sort of the idea behind it, correct?
Yeah.
And you were mentioning that you guys had some really awesome conversations, I guess, if you will, with some spirits. Tell me a little bit about one that happened in Wisconsin Rapids recently, or I guess a few years ago for you guys.
Well, that's the one that sticks out in my mind the most. We were at the First Ward Schoolhouse in Wisconsin Rapids, and my wife and I, we were in the basement. And the story of the building there is that the old janitor or caretaker haunts the building, and that he can be a little crusty and he can use some colorful words. And we captured that in our spirit box sessions. But the one time we were there doing that, and we were doing a spirit box session in the basement, like kind of the lunchroom area of the school. And my wife actually belched during the session, and a voice came through the spirit box and said, "You pig." And we both looked at each other and we're kind of like, is what? Like, we didn't quite understand. Yeah. And then when you watch the video back that we have on our YouTube channel, it makes me speechless. I don't know what it was.
You've had a lot of activity at that schoolhouse in Wisconsin Rapids. I'm curious, do you have like a bucket list location that you're like, I got to get to this at some point that you haven't already?
Well, my wife and I, our bucket list was kind of Waverly Hills, the tuberculosis hospital in Kentucky. And we actually went there 2 years ago and did an overnight investigation, which is on our YouTube, and it was crazy. And it blew our mind. But as far as locations, like maybe the Queen Mary in California, the Ship Hotel that's out there, and where else would there be? I don't know. There's so many places that we haven't been to yet. And even in Wisconsin, like going up to Summerwind and checking that out, of course, with permission, because that's private property.
Right.
You can just go there. But there's also the Sheboygan Insane Asylum that recently popped up. We'd love to get into there, and hopefully we will sometime soon.
So, Nick, I really appreciate you taking the time. I will ask you one final question, though. This is not really so much about ghosts, but just if anybody out there is curious to learn more about the society, or maybe if they're thinking, hey, I would love to have you guys enter my house to see I've been having weird things going on, how could they get in touch with you guys and get in contact, maybe set something up?
The best way is through our Facebook page, the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, or you can go to nwiparanormal.com and direct from that website. You can find us on Facebook and send us a message or call the number on the website, and we'll get back to you.
Well, Nick, I appreciate you taking the time. And you know what? I might have to take my co-host Jeff out. We might have to do some paranormal investigations once we get, closer to Halloween. Maybe that'll fit the theme a little bit better. But Nick, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back here on Up North at 4.